Sri Krishnaya Namaha, Om Kamalnathaya Namaha, Om Vasudevaya Namaha, Om Sanatanaya Namaha, Om Sri Krishnaya Namaha, Om Kamalnathaya Namaha, Om Vasudevaya Namaha, Om Sanatanaya Namaha, Om Sri Krishnaya Namaha, Om Kamalnathaya Namaha, Om Vasudevaya Namaha, Om Sanatanaya Namaha, Om Sri Krishnaya Namaha, Om Kamalnathaya Namaha, Om Vasudevaya Namaha, Om Sanatanaya Namaha.
Being a parent, firstly, you have to be an example, a role model for your children. Very often, you see, they are children. Of course, they've been learning. When they go outside, they have different views of the world, of what, firstly, you are teaching them. But you have to teach them the right value. At the same time, you see, not to make them alien to the outside world also. Because they have to know also both worlds. Otherwise, it will be strange for them. The same, you know the outside world, how it was. That's why you have come on your spiritual path, seeing the difference between the two. You are able to take the right decision. So like that, what you teach you as parents to your children is very important. And the children will learn through what they see. It's not much what you tell them. You see, you have to understand, in a children level, in a child level, the child doesn't understand the word. Of course, you can talk things, you can explain to them, you can teach them. But you see, you can, as much as you teach them with verbal, it disappeared after some time. But what they view, by seeing, they keep it more inside of them. So, and also what they see, what they hear, not you telling them, but what they hear, how you are interacting, they learn through that. So you see, if somebody is smoking, automatically the child see that. And then you tell, you should not smoke. But then inside the mind is that, but you are doing it, why should I not do it? So, like that, if you start putting, you're engaging your children or your child in what you're doing, not saying, when they grow up, they can decide by themselves. I'm very fearful. Very often I heard that from devotees, that no, I can't teach my children because, I fear what the people will say, all this. No, but if you yourself are showing fear to them, if you yourself are showing that you don't trust your path, then what are you teaching them? What do you expect them to learn from you? So if you really want your children to be different, to really transform, and you really want to teach them in the right way, start by engaging your children in whatever you do, also spiritually. This is very often, when you do your japam, even if they don't want to do japam, don't force them to do it, but just say, if you want to come, here, take a japa, take this mala for you, you can play with it. So by playing with it, they will see what you are doing, they will be interested, because it's like a game for them. So, like that, they will start. Of course, they will have their time where they will start to go outside, to look outside. But that seed which you have planted inside of them, that seed itself will germinate one day. That seed will grow one day, and it will bear its fruit. Maybe it's not now, it's not when you're expecting, but it will be in their life itself. They will come to that point. Oh, mom and dad have shown us something deep, It will reflect upon them, when they need it. Then they will find their way. They will find their path, So, engage your children in what you do spiritually also. like singing, like chanting, and explain to them, if you are trying to explain, tell them the stories of Krishna, tell them the story of Rama, tell them the story of the saints, and tell it, but they can understand, because I think most of the time they don't really understand what you're telling. But when you talk a language which they understand, then it will make sense for them. And for that, they will grow. And they will, enjoy what you're giving them. Otherwise, they become boring, because you see, what is wonderful for you, you are viewing it in a different, your mindset itself is different. Yeah. But for them, it's boring. The same thing, it will tell you, start playing with a child toys. How will it be for you? It will be boring. Take something and hit on something which is making noise. It will not make any sense for you. But for the child, it is making sense, because that viewing and how the child is listening, it is creating certain impact upon that child itself. So that's how you will be able to engage your children also into your spiritual path, and engage them in a way that they also would like to participate. Because you see, when you force somebody, of course, after they say, oh, mom and dad have forced us always to do this, they will run away. But when you engage them in what you're doing, whether you don't beat them or you shout at them or whatever to do something, just let them be in the company, let them be in that vibration. Automatically, that will change something inside of them.
Jai Gurudev, everyone. Welcome to the Prem Lounge with Bhakti Marga, South Africa. The Prem Lounge, we love to share the amazing transformational experiences that devotees have enjoyed with our beloved Satguru Paramahamsa Vishwananda. We come together in Guru Sangha to hear these special experiences, which are also transformational to us. Tonight, we're so grateful to have you join us to experience the journeys of grace with 4 amazing Bhakti Marga Mums who will share about their journey of raising their children on the spiritual path. We will hear the journey from the child in the mom's womb all the way through to the child who is ready to leave the safety of home and share these learned values with others. Tonight's session of the Prem Lounge is dedicated to the lotus feet of our beloved Satguru Paramahamsa Vishwananda. We will start with the opening prayer by Swamini Vishwaparagatishwari Ma. Jai Gurudev, Swamini. Okay, I'm not sure if Swamini might be having a little bit of a technical difficulty, so I'll start by doing the opening prayer. Om. 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 Prem avataraya vidmahe Satgurudevaya dhimahi Tanno Shri Vishwananda prachodayata. Om Prem avataraya vidmahe Satgurudevaya dhimahi Tanno Shri Vishwananda prachodayata. Om Prem avataraya vidmahe Satgurudevaya dhimahi Tanno Shri Vishwananda prachodayata. Jai Gurudev again, everyone.
Jai Gurudev. I'll
Jai
just say
Gurudev
that prayer.
Swami.
You can hear me now?
Yes, we can. Yes, we
Okay.
can.
Agyana timirandasya Gyana jalashalakaya Chakshuru militam yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopishwar Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ya Kundendu Tusharahara Davala, Ya Shubhra Vastra Pita, Ya Veena Varadanda Ditakara, Ya Shweta Padmasana, Ya Brahmachyuta Shankara Pratibhir, Deve Sada Vandita, Sama Patu Saraswati Bhagavati, Buddhim Pradam Sharade, Buddhi Pradam Sharade. Jai Gurudev, everybody.
Jai Gurudev Swamini and Jai Gurudev once again, everyone. Thank you for joining us. So I'd like to introduce Swamini to everyone. Swamini Vishwaparagatishwari Ma became the country Swamini of Bhakti Marga Mauritius in 2017, but joined the mission already in 1984. For those of you who don't know, apart from being a Bhakti Marga Swamini, Swamini is also the aunt of our beloved Guruji. Swamini has 3 children, Manju, Manish, and Vivi, and 2 grandchildren, Rajesh Baba and Krishna. Today is a very special day, Swamini, and we're really grateful to have you here on this day. On behalf of the entire Prem Lounge team, we'd like to wish you a very, very happy birthday. And we pray that Guruji will always shower his divine love and blessings and grace on you. Thank you so much. We're so grateful that you could join us on this special night.
Okay, thank you for inviting me. When you invited me and you said the date, so I said, okay, maybe it's a grace on your birthday. And, you know, it doesn't happen every day. And the day you turn 60, it's quite a lifespan you have spent on this journey we call life. And to talk about my children. So it was, for me, it was just a grace. So I would like to share with you, as Nerisha just said, that I met Guruji when he was 6.5 years old in December 1984. So since then, I have seen Guruji growing from a boy, For us in those days, he was just a family boy, the grandson, my nephew. So he was just growing as a normal child. Though many times when we try to realize after so many years when he started his divine lila, his manifestation. So in those days he was showing, but for us he was just a child, and many things in those days we just let it go unnoticed. And when it was time for him to expose himself to the world and to the family, to everybody, who he was. So everything started. And even though being a child, he was playing the role of a guru. For us, he was playing. But now when you realize, later afterwards when you realize, so he was in that role of a said guru. And his first devotees were his own sister, Tina, and my kids. So he used the way he was just, for us, he was just behaving or acting, but he was in his own personality. In those days, we didn't see that. So he was just sitting on top, on his bed, on the border of his bed, on the top of his bed. And the 4 kids will sit on the floor. And he will do his own satsang, as we see him doing nowadays. In those days, I say it should be in 19, my kids were born in 85, 86, and 91. So it should be 90, 99, 89, 90, 91, 92. So he was enacting in those days as a kid the role of a Sadguru. He was sitting, as we see in our scriptures, how the Guru Shishya Parampara emanated. So he was sitting on top, on the bed, and the kids were on the floor, and he was relating and narrating his stories. At times he was, I would say, role-playing. He will just, all the time when he was enacting his role play, he was acting, he was in the role of Krishna. And my son Manish used to be Arjun. Then he narrated his story. And those days, we adults, we were just thinking that the kids are playing, and we were not joining, we were not participating. So it became like, it was a current thing happening every day. He will call the kids and play every day, every evening, like that, till he showed himself who he is. And for me, I can say, I must say, I'm very lucky to have him in my life, to nurture, to mold the characters, the way, the attitude of my life, of my children, all 3 of them. Though they were with Guruji, with my daughter, the eldest one, I didn't have much problem. She was very soft, kind, gentle-hearted, and very, very listening, treading as she should have been. But with my second son, Manish, maybe if Nirisha can show the picture of the graduation, I would like to relate that picture where he is, Guruji is seen with the picture, in the picture of Manish. So you will see here in the picture, Guruji sitting next to Manish, down the picture 7, number 7. Manish was a very good boy, always listening to Guruji, doing whatever Guruji will say. But to study for him was a headache. He didn't want to study. It was so tough for me to handle him those days concerning his study. For kind-hearted boy. He was so kind, so nice. Even I had so many times I had report from the school he used to go, and when I will report to the school, his teachers will say he's such a good boy, very good hearted. If I will give him a pail of paint and tell him to paint the whole building, in a whole one day, he will just finish everything except reading. He was not ready he was not accepting. I would say he was not ready to be conditioned to sit in a classroom to study, especially in the adolescence crisis. He was almost 16 or 17. And at times he was just bunking school, not going to school. One day coming back from school, Guruji just caught him and everything. Guruji just was very, just started his mission, and Guruji caught him. He didn't go to school. He just was roaming around with his friends. And that day Guruji talked to him, and it was, how to say, it was like a lecture. And at night, Manish was had a dream that Guruji was, how to say, beating him, give him a good beat and beating him. And the next day, when Manish went to Guruji's place, Guruji said, was it okay? Did you sleep well yesterday night? Then Manish was a bit ashamed, said, he didn't say, bro, you came in to my room. Said, yeah, it was okay. But Manish could feel his cheek was swollen. Then Guruji said, what happened to you? You got a good slap yesterday night. Then Manish said, yeah, you kicked me. Then he said, are you going to read now? Are you going to study the way your mom wants you to be? Then that day Manish promised, okay, bro, yeah, I will study. I will do whatever you say. He said, okay, study whatever you want to do, you do, but you study and fulfill the dream of your parents. You want to graduate, the day you will get a degree, I promise you, wherever I am, I will visit you. So how, and when Manish was graduated in 2010, it was on the few days before Diwali. I was there in UK, the whole family is there. And on the day of Diwali, Guruji was traveling. He started traveling those days. And when he was getting ready, Manish said to me, sadly, he's not here. I'm sure he won't be able to make it. You know, I know he won't be able to make it. And I said, okay, you go to school, we wait for him at home. And for some other reasons, Guruji's plane was delayed. He reached there quite late. And for some unobvious reason, even the graduation ceremony was delayed because they were waiting for the mayor of London to be there. So Guruji reached there straight from the airport. He went to his graduation venue. It was somewhere in London. I forgot exactly the name. And Manish was just, you know how the graduation ceremonies here, the students are in the backstage aligning things like that, and we're all sitting. And Manish, when he came for his ceremony, he was just, how to say, he was not sure that Guruji was there. And he was already in the line. When he saw Guruji, he just jumped across everybody and he came, he just bowed and said, oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy you are here. Then Guruji said, go and get your degree. He said, no, you are here. That's okay. I'm fulfilled now. Even though I'm not graduated, I'm so happy. So Guruji said, go and sit there and take your degree. We'll wait for you. So that's how we have the family photo. He fulfilled the promise he made to Guruji. And today he is in Germany. He's next to Guruji. He's living there. He's near the ashram. In the top photo, you will see the wedding of my daughter. Even that photo is such a good and bad souvenir. My daughter got married in 2012. 2012. Guruji came for her wedding. And there was some ups and downs, and Guruji had to leave before the wedding. 2 weeks before the wedding, Guruji had to leave for Germany. And he said to my daughter, okay, I'm here, I really bless you. All the family from UK, whoever was abroad, they are here. They will be here, but I have to go. I'm going, and everything will be fine. Then my daughter said to him, you know, even though everybody will be here, it won't be the same if you are not here. If you are not here, I would rather just postpone the wedding. But I want you to be here. Without you, I won't feel the wedding will be happening. Then Guruji said, okay, I will come. He just left Mauritius, and after 5 days again, he came back just for the wedding. He came on Friday evening, and we were just busy preparing, and my daughter said, will he come? Will he come? I said, yeah, he said he will come. He came Friday evening. He stayed here with us on Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Monday, he left only for 3 nights. He fulfilled the promise he made to my daughter. I will be here for your wedding. So this is how. And you will see next to Guruji in the picture number 6, next to Guruji is my son Vivi. Vivi, he had for him such an amazing experience. So we were in South Africa, and Guruji was, we had darshan at in Durban somewhere, Swami Chakra. He was Swami in those days, his place. So Vivi was, when he went for darshan, he was a bit stressed because he was expecting his higher school certificate results, and he wanted me to prepone our tickets. They said, Mom, let's go back. Results will be out. Then our flight was scheduled 4 or 5 days after the results. So he said, Mom, let's go back. And then Guruji said, why are you worried? You did well. Did you work well for your papers? He said, yes, bro, I work well, but still, and still, I don't know. I feel stressed because he wanted to have good results and to secure a place at the university. So it was late at night, and he was so stressed because I was not arranging for an early departure from South Africa. He was just chasing me, Mom, let's go back to Mauritius. Then late at night, before going to bed, would you just call him? He said, you see, I know what is your result. I give you the results. And no need to stress yourself. You go when you're on your scheduled date, you will have this result. And when we came back, so the school, when you are not there to take the result, they send it to the Mauritius Examination Syndicate, another authority. So you have to go there to collect the results. And he didn't go. He was tired because of the flight. Next day, I went there. Oh my God. It was exactly the same grading Guruji gave. Exactly the same. And I was just shaking, holding the results in my hand. I just phoned him and said, Vivi, I said, what happened? He said, exactly the same how Guruji said. You got the same results. Then he said, oh gosh, I'm happy. And he texted Guruji, said, thank you for everything. So he has been, they are born from my womb, yes. But Guruji has always showered all his love. And whatever he says, whatever he how to say, he mold or frame their characters. I want you to be like that. You must study, you must do that. It is how they are. And my extension family, my extended family, you see, Brajesh, and 9, the picture 9, and on the top one, 8 is Krishna, the youngest one. He's just 11th month, and Brajesh is 6 years. So after wedding for 2 years, my daughter was struggling hard to conceive. It was not happening. There were some health issues, and we were there, I think, for just love. She was a bit sad. Guruji said, "You're married, you're happy, you got a job. What happened?" I said, I want to have a baby. I don't have a baby, and it's so difficult to conceive. And Guruji said, "Why do you worry? You will have, you will see, you will have." And it happened after some time, she was pregnant, and she got Rajesh, and he was only 2. So she promised, if I have a baby, the first trip my baby will make, I will take him to the ashram. So he was 2 in the picture. When you see him, Guruji holding his hand. We took him to the ashram, and it was his first contact with Guru. No, I think it was a second or third contact. He was a baby when Guruji came. So he was just following Guruji all around. He will just walk. Even Guruji will be far away. He will just look and keep on looking at him. That's why in the picture 9, you will see in his eyes, he will just focus wherever Guruji is. He will just stand quiet. Even though he was 2, he was quiet. He will just look at him as if there was a connection between them. And even in the top picture, 8 is Krishna. It's in December when Guruji came, and Krishna was almost 3 or 4. Even his birth, he was born earlier. He was born in the 8th month, and Krishna was still in the womb, and my daughter, there was a fluid, amniotic fluid, that how to say, just get blank. So she was losing water, and it was not even the 8th month, and my daughter was worried, and it was on the 12th was Janmashtami, and she texted Guruji, "Bro, it's on the 8th month, and I'm losing water. What should I say? Just go to the hospital, everything will be fine. It's Krishna. Krishna is coming to you. It's Janmashtami." So the next day, Krishna was born. He was, even though on the 8th month, he was a fully developed baby. He didn't have to go to the incubator. And look, when he has his first contact, he was just looking into the eyes of Guruji. So that's how spirituality is is the safest way if you want if we as moms, we want our kids to be grown up in responsible adults. So spirituality is the best way. And listening to the satsang of Guruji before, you see, it should be inculcated right from early age. For my kids, they had the chance. And we as mothers of Bhakti Marga, we are in the Sharan of Guruji, and we have surrendered to him. So we are lucky enough to share whatever we're learning. We share to our kids. Oh my God! So each of the picture you see me in green with Guruji. Oh my gosh! It is in 2011. I was in India. I went to India for my work. So I was for almost 2.5 months in India, following a course in Hyderabad. And Guruji happened to be there. And always he was telling me, we will meet in India, one day we'll meet. And when I happened to be in India, I spoke to him. He said, "Oh, where are you? I'll be traveling." He was traveling exactly in which city I was. I was in Hyderabad, and he was traveling to Hyderabad, going through Mantralaya, going to Ahobilam. Ahobilam is the place where there's a pillar of Nrsimha, in the pillar from which Nrsimha appeared. So we met, and how we met, it's so long. I wrote it, I related that if I go into detail, it will be too long. In picture number 2, it's my first trip to SPN. So in 2010, so after the graduation of Manish, he said, okay, let's go to his SPN. So it's his Guruji's bungalow. Picture number 3, that's a beautiful story behind. It's at Munich. I was in SPN because when I was booking my ticket was very expensive, the date I was planning to go. So 1 week earlier, I had it at a much cheaper rate. I said, okay, I travel and I won't go to the ashram because Guruji was touring in Germany. He was in Munich and some cities in the north of Germany. I said, okay, I will go and spend some time with my son, Manish. So the day I reached Frankfurt, from Frankfurt, I went to Mannheim where Manish lived. Guruji phoned and he was talking. He said, you are here, but how come you are here? I told you, I already informed him that I will be there another date. It should have been 1 week after. Then he said, but you're here earlier. Come here, come to Munich. Then my son Manish just started a job. He could not take leave. And Manish said, okay, but I can't travel. And, the communication barrier in Germany, not everybody speak English. So how he arranged for a taxi, and from Mannheim to go there, it takes you 5 hours. And the time he arranged for that taxi and the exact location, the taxi dropped me by the hotel where Guruji was staying. So when I reached there, and you see me, so I said, okay, it was such a blessing to be there. And the down photos, you will see the family gathering, the wedding of my daughter, and the photo number 5. You see these are all the Komal Rams of this generation. So, and Guruji said, everybody was just walking around. Guruji said, just come, we take a photo for my daughter's wedding. And those who were not coming said, just come, we are all cousins. It was the only time when all cousins met. This generation with Guruji, everyone was there, and they never ever met. And he said, we won't ever met. Everybody will be in his own life. So this is a family pic they took. So spirituality is the best way to pave on this modern life. And whatever we learn, whatever we study, we share it with our kids. And we share it the way Guruji said, by relating stories. The best way is when we do prayers, we let the children participate, help them, encourage them, come and help them. How? Just write the prayers and short, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, whatever it is, the way, just let them get attracted. Let them be very involved in whatever we're doing. And the best institute in the world is the home. The best teacher is the mother. Even our scriptures teach the same thing. So as a mother, if we want to have our children be full-fledged, educated, have a social status without losing his original background from where he come, and be very obedient, have all the good qualities, compassionate, humble, loving, caring. So the mother is the teacher. Whatever the mother will teach, whatever shadow the mother will spread on the child will imbibe certain things. And it should be done at an early age. When they're kids, don't say that they're too young. He's only 4, he's only 5. No, in whatever age just mix them, let them participate, let them sit among the adults. Don't, I'd say, at times we suggest they're making noise or doing this and that. No, we teach them, we bring them in and make them participate. And with time, when their cognitive abilities will develop, after 3 and 5, so they will be attracted in satsang and prayers, whatever he's taught. And if whatever book you are reading, even the cartoon book, we have Amar Chitra Katha, we have Ramayana, Little Krishna, whatever it is, let them read that, read the search book side by side with the academic things, and nursery book, nursery rhymes, whatever it is. And so just a mixture of things. Don't be too focused on the academic, and you say spiritual thing later. No, we just try to make a good balance. And as a mom, we can decide upon that, and we can plan. We do that, and we'll see it will bear its fruit. And maybe I don't know, Nirisha, it's I have spoken too much, or it's okay.
Jai Gurudev Swamini, thank you. You've shared very beautifully. We really appreciate hearing about the early days with Guruji and the kids, and how he actually helped to shape the way that they were growing, which is so amazing. What do you think it would have been like for all of you if Guruji wasn't there in those early years as they were growing?
I have never thought about that. I've never thought about that, because, you know, for me, I feel as if, how to say, even when I was in my young age, I'd say 15, 16, 17, I was always attracted to the spiritual life. Guruji knows that well. I even, in those days, I used to go to the wherever there was prayers, I wanted to go out to follow, and I always wished to have as if be surrounded like special people, godly people. You have a house by side you have a temple, and where you can do everything. So for me, it was, when everything happened, it was just a dream that I had in my youth days. It was just happening.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much for all the sharing, Swamini. We're going to have questions later on, and maybe some of the moms who are online will also share some of the experiences. So when we get to the questions, then we're going to bring you back on. But thank you so much for sharing the beautiful pictures and stories about the experience. Okay.
Thank you.
So we're going to now talk to Sandhya Dasi, who has a very sweet little 2-year-old named Shayla, who absolutely loves the deities at the Shantanarasimha temple in Sangha. I think they're very much like playmates to her. And Sandhya first met Guruji in 2015 in her dreams, after she did the Atma Kriya course. So she had actually experienced his love and physical presence in her dreams to start. And then in 2016, she met him physically for the first time and started her journey together with her family, with Guruji. Sandhya, we're really grateful to have you here with us, especially right now as baby's imminent arrival is being awaited. Hi, Shayla. It's nice to see you. We're really grateful that you made the time and you could be with us. We know baby's almost ready to arrive, and so it's really wonderful that you could be with us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev. Jai Gurudev Swamini.
Yes.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
And Jai Gurudev to everyone joining in today. I think it's so special this evening. Nerisha and the team have been trying to do this, I think, since we're discussing in March. It's been a few months. And it only took shape and landed up officially tonight. And I was talking to another devotee recently, and actually this weekend they were supposed to do a small baby shower thing at the temple. And given our current situation in Durban or South Africa, we don't even have enough food to even have in our house, let alone a party. But I think it's a perfect example how Guruji planned something greater. And for me, like any celebration, whether a birthday or baby shower or anniversary, it's not about the cake or the gifts or the decoration. It's about people coming together and, sharing the love that we have, especially if it's a devotee congregation or a community. It's that light and that warmth that we have to be together. So I am very, very happy that this is my official, I think, baby shower. And I'm very fortunate to have Swamini join in and so many more people that probably couldn't have been there physically to share. And of course, the most important thing is focus on him and to talk about his glories. Paramahamsa Vishwananda. He's something that, I, like Nerisha said, I first sort of became aware of him in 2015. And he's all I really know. And I love to hear his glories from other devotees. And it's very special today to be sharing part of my journey with you guys. And I hope it inspires some of the mums to be, some of the mums that are on the path already. I know for me, speaking to other mums and devotees, it provides a lot of support and motivation, especially with a toddler. And being pregnant at the moment, I'm glad I didn't pop as yet. I know everyone keeps checking up on me, but when the time is right. So I'm just dividing my talk today in two parts. One is obviously focusing on Shayla and the journey that happened in 2019 or just before that, and the current one, current pregnancy that I'm going through. So I think Nerisha really designed it nicely. She had a womb to a sort of experience from womb to 3 years old, so it's the toddler age. And basically, the journey that anything you look upon is actually when you reflect behind yourself, when you've walked the path or the journey you've traveled, you then realize all the gems or the experiences or the value that you've had, not necessarily when you're in it and experiencing it. Sometimes it gets very confusing. And so it gave me a lot of time actually trying to jot down some ideas of the journey I've been through and some really, really good experiences that only a Satguru can give. And basically, it's a journey from the old habits that I have grown up with. And I was, in my middle 20s when I did the Kriya Yoga and sort of gained full force onto the spiritual path. And from there, things have changed very rapidly. And so it's essentially an old habitual Sandhya who has been sort of molded, like Swamini said, by the Satguru. And that's his job. That's why he's here, to transform us. But it's, of course, how much you give yourself into that transformation or allow that. And for me, my mind is a very special kind. I even know it's not my best friend at times. And so the old me was very afraid of responsibility. I was what you call a free spirit. I still am, actually. But I think I found a bit more balanced life now with spirituality teaching me how to do that, and Guruji. But if you met me in my early 20s, I, had the time of my life in every dimension. And I had really good things, and I lived in the world. But obviously there was that attachment to God. And I come from a family that's raised me in sort of influence from ISKCON, from the Sai organization, from Sivananda. So I've had a lot of interaction with religion and spirituality. But when it came down to responsibility, and these are two main things, is a little bit commitment phobic. So specifically for having children, I loved children. I still do. And so much so I thought I'd be a pediatrician. one day. You know, I love them, I would play with them, I take care of them, but end of the day, I give them back, you know. I was like, I can't do this 24 hours, 18 years or even more. And it was something in my back of my head. I was like, maybe if I meet the right person, I'd have children, but I'm not in a rush for that. And that was always the case until I actually met someone, and that was my husband, Rishabh, which you know. And he's such a good guy. And we got married in 2017. I think, I hope I got this right, he's listening. And we were married on the 18th of June. On the 13th of June, it was Guruji's appearance day, and we were at the temple. And it started off this whole baby story. After the celebrations, I was standing outside and I was talking to Swami Chakradhara at that point. And we were going through so much just with that week preparation for the wedding that, you know, there were so many things I was thinking about. And out of the blue, he's like, don't worry, you'll have children. And I was like, what are you talking? In my head, I was like, what is he talking about? I won't even consider now thinking of children. I don't even know whether like my whole family is going to be there for the wedding and, you know, it's going to go smoothly and that kind of thing. And here's someone telling me about, don't worry, you're going to be okay, you'll have children. Anyway, I was just like, I'll keep it back in my head and see how it goes. So anyway, we got married. That was in 2017. And we did the Kriya course together, my husband and I. And obviously our journeys are on the same path, but they're obviously different because the experience is internal. And it's just like a school specifically. It's Guruji's school of spirituality, of sort of transformation. And any school obviously has a variety of children. And this given even being my husband, his experiences or his teachings are different, you know, very different. Although we live in the same house, we do the same things, our experiences are very different. But essentially, the whole experience of bhakti and in the school of Guruji and Bhakti Marga is to take you onto the path of dharma. And that dharma is, Guruji says in these satsangs, you have your external dharma, which is in the world, and you have your spiritual dharma, and you have to embrace your dharmic life in the world first in order to know your higher purpose. And so, you know, that's the aim of this journey, and we treaded upon it until it came time where I started having dreams about having a baby. And this was coming from Guruji, the first proxy that I have in place. So a lot of the time, he always encouraged us, you know, and he says it in his special way of teasing and jokes and that kind of thing. But of course, there was strong sentiment behind it. And it was obviously a guidance that I was not listening to, that was coming from the master himself. And it took me some time to embrace that because I had this old habit of dodging responsibility, you know, and having the easy life. And it came a point where I had to step up in order to move forward spiritually. And that's what happens in this path. And that's when it happened that I was trying, when I really decided sincerely, okay, Guruji, I'm going to have this baby. And we started trying. And it wasn't the easiest thing. And I started to get worried. And I remember Chakradhara's words to be like, don't worry, you'll have children. And when it finally happened, obviously, you don't know, it's your first experience. I mean, even medically, when we trained, how it's supposed to be, how you experience the psychological thing behind it, it's of no use, actually. And Swamini 100% is correct that spirituality is the only education that would take you forward. And so during Shaila, you know, I was going through a tough time mentally. I had just lost my brother in 2018. And so I was coping with my parents and taking on more responsibility. But that was the important thing now looking back at it, is that was the reason Guruji pushed so quickly to have that child. Because I never understood, and I think I don't ever will understand my mother's feelings of losing her only son. But that empty void has been filled slightly with the birth of Shayla. I don't think it's ever going to be the same, not having my brother. But looking back, the birth of Shayla has made such an impact on her and my father and my in-laws and just people around. So me just listening and to Guruji's instruction, to the Adesh, and forgetting what my plan is in my mind is telling me, no, plan your life like this. You're still young, enjoy your married life and everything. It wasn't about that. It's about the bigger picture. And so in Bhakti Marga, having a Satguru is having that higher knowledge, having that ability to see every dimension of an experience or a situation that our human minds are very limited to. And looking back, I think I'm very glad it happened when it happened. And I'm grateful for Guruji for giving that instruction. And although I was very slow to the party, it eventually worked out very well. And for everyone, including myself. And as much as we want to, I always say, you know what, maybe we just do our dharma. You have to be a householder, you have to be a wife, you have to be a mother, you have to be a professional at work and all these kind of things. It does take a lot of taxing time, physically, mentally, emotionally from you. But having taken initiation, it is like a sort of, it's a contract actually. It's a contract, a bond, a binding thing between you and the Guru. And he will never sort of let you down. He'll never give up until your contract is fulfilled or your purpose is fulfilled. And so how once I heard someone tell me about this is that before you even are born, a soul comes with a soul agenda. So in this agenda, you decide, obviously based on karma and samsaras and all these things, of what your life is going to be destined to be, experience-wise, who you'll meet, what you'll become. It's all predestined. And of course, there's a path to follow. And you can detour any part of the time. And obviously, it'll take you longer. You can waste that life or use it. And we hear this all the time from Guruji. And one of the most beautiful satsangs he gave, I think in March, was about the soul's prayer in the womb. And, when I heard that, I sort of understood a little bit more about the children now that are being born in Bhakti Marga, including my daughter, Shayla. When Shayla was born, even before, like I explained, the pregnancy, it was already set. Guruji needed certain devotees, his devotees, to be born at certain times. They were due to come in and fulfill their purpose. Of course, she's 3 years old now, and actually you can say she's fulfilled one of her purposes of sort of taking care of her nani and her nana, and giving love to everyone she meets and that kind of thing. It's such a subtle thing, but it's so strong. And so I learned to appreciate that she has a purpose, and that purpose is already written into her path in her life, and I'm just part of the journey. And all I had to do was listen. And as much as that is being said, that I had to listen and fulfill the duties of a mother and that kind of thing, Guruji is taking care of me. As much as she's learning from me, not a day goes past that I don't learn from Shayla. Mostly it's about just being such a happy person and being positive. And I've had a really tough few years now, especially since this COVID issue, and work has been crazy. But coming home to her, I realized that Guruji gave me such a special gift, because there's never a time you don't see her smiling. Even when she cries, actually it's a fake cry, and she'll smile at you afterwards. And so she teaches me patience, she teaches me discipline and resilience and that kind of thing. And so it's amazing that the Satguru uses, one stone and he knocks down so many skittles. So taking care of my parents and taking care of me spiritually, so I can advance. And that's what we're here for, to reach the feet of Narayana. And not just spiritually. An example is when Shayla was born, I had the tough year going through the pregnancy mentally and emotionally and that kind of thing. But he was always there. And, I don't have the fortune for physically being in his presence, but I'm surrounded by his devotees that are very close to him in their experience, and they share with me their joy and their love, which feels the same as him, And of course, I've tried to practice going within and building that relationship. And it took some time, but I think I've gotten a bit better in understanding some of his dreams and messages and meditations and that kind of thing. And when Shayla was born, Guruji knows I'm a coward. I told the story during Mother's Day. There was a decision of whether to have the birth naturally or to have a C-section. And, there's so many things that you can choose from, and we have the choice. And I'm a coward. I was like, hey, Guruji, we know this is how it's going to end. I'm going to try. It's going to get stuck. And then they're going to put me in the theater and they're going to cut me anyway. So let's just cut to the chase and, see what you can do. And my gynae Shame was like, still asked me, do you want to try? And I was like, can we try just do the Caesar, the elective Caesar? So he wrote down this note with certain features so that the health insurance, the medical aid can pay and authorize it. And on the last few weeks of my visits, whatever he wrote manifested, although he pre-wrote it. And that for me was the first sign that I was grateful that Guruji made that happen. So on the birthday, I got ready. I was, went to hospital calm, a little bit nervous, but not in pain or anything. And in 20 minutes, she was out, and the rest happened. But there was a complication, right? And so my eye got swollen. And so my doctors thought I had like an anaphylactic reaction to the pethidine or something, and they put me into ICU. And I was like, no, man, this is okay. It happens. I was wearing my contact lenses because I refused not to be able to see this child. I'm pretty blind without glasses. And so it closed up and everything. And here am I in ICU amongst people with serious illnesses and just sort of relaxing there. They're bringing me food, they're massaging me, and they didn't give me my daughter for the first night. She was down because she couldn't come up into the ICU. And so I basically just was free for one last night. And prior to going to hospital, I had a dream of Guruji, and he was driving, and he was so happy. And in the dream, he was showing me that he was coming to hospital. And he was so excited that Shayla's been born. So this was the night before. In ICU, and I slept that night, I was feeling pretty bad that now I couldn't take care of this child. She's out and feeling a bit guilty. And I dreamt of Guruji, and he was sitting at the edge of my bed. And he's looking at me and he says, you rest, I'll take care of her. And it was so touching for me that I always thought, the focus is about the kid, about the child, about everything else. But he orchestrated the whole thing, used the doctors, the medication, the swollen eye, just as an instrument to get me to have one day of rest and recover from that operation. And then I got thrown to the wolves with a newborn baby the next day. And it's small things like that not many people will have. Many people go into a hospital or go into a pregnancy with complications, but they don't have that assurance that a devotee has in Bhakti Marga. And this is because he's the highest consciousness on this planet, Paramahamsa Vishwananda. And when you have that relationship with him, when you build on it and that bond becomes so sort of solid, there's nothing he won't do for his devotee. He's here for us as much as we are here to serve in his name and honor. After that, I got to experience Shayla, which is very alarming because it was so unusual for me, knowing, what to do with a baby. And it's very strange because I read this in the textbooks and I studied it and I tell my patients this and stuff. Nerve-wracking and very overwhelming. But he was always there. We were like sort of spiritual support, but in the form for me, a sort of proxy, and through his experience that he has gained, it has always been like that. When he's always my go-to person when I'm in the gutters and losing my way, and he always will tell you right to be done. And so that's the most difficult thing to face, is to embrace the truth and then overcome your mind and then embrace what you're supposed to be doing. And then you see the challenges of that sort of newborn phase that I had, it sort of melted away because you had that support. You had the support from Guruji in the form of his other devotees, in him himself, in his satsangs, that kind of thing. So Shayla, when she started sort of getting a personality, which was around 3 months or so, I remember telling Swami Parantapa, I was like, it's so weird. The minute she stares at the picture, we have the calendar, and this 3-month-old just looks and looks and looks at this picture, and then you play a song on YouTube, and she's like smiling and, you know, interacting. And Swami Parantapa was like, yeah, because she recognizes him. And that was such a strong sort of concept for me, because they know each other. And, you know, Shayla as a soul recognizes Guruji, and it essentially is his children and his devotees that just are coming now and being part of the journey of his Leela. And it took me to the point where she was born in April, and I had a dream that we had to take her to Mauritius. And so that was October, where I met Swamini for the first time, and all the lovely Mauritian devotees. And so it was, you'll see the photos a bit later, where Shayla met Guruji. And it was very touching to see that interaction. And it's something I still can't understand, but that's the relationship between them. And I could never imagine, you know, a person who's not even in school yet, or, you know, education-wise, have that ability to interact with someone so familiar. You know, it's mind-boggling. And you'll see in the pictures actually that you'll see how they interact with each other. And now that she can talk, it's a hell of a conversation every time. It took me, I think, 5 years to learn the Vaishnava mantra and glorifications and all this thing. And so we superstitious, you know, Indians, every time we come home, we have the camphor that you turn for a child, when it's dark after sunset. And every time I do this, you see Shayla do this, and she'll rattle the whole glorifications out. Radha Krishna ki jai, Govinda, Govinda. And I was like, we laugh every time she does this, and it's every single day. But it's amazing that it's just a natural habit of hers. And so it's very inspiring to me, because obviously I have to keep up and do my best to give her the best example. But I think she's doing really, really well. And most importantly, it became so aware to me of what Guruji really says in satsangs is true, that we are just a soul, and we've been conditioned in the world of materialism, attached to our jobs, our identity, our egos, and we forget the true essence of just being a child of God. And well, she's now at that phase where she's naturally who she is, so free. And obviously it will change in a few years, but however long it is, we hope it lasts for the best. I think that's what I want to tell you about Shayla.
Sandhya, we've put up pictures. Do you want to take us through them?
Yeah, let's do quickly. So, well, the first one is just, I thought that was the nicest one that I had, with her smiling. Otherwise, there's not very good pictures with her. She makes funny faces. The second picture is very important. It's Shayla on Sri Vishwananda Nilya, which is the farm. And, you know, so many say start them young, and it's true. They are born, and part of my experience with Guruji is that these children are very important in the development of this ashram. You know, it is going to be the biggest in the Southern Hemisphere. I remember in 2016, Chakradhara was telling us when we were planting trees on the border that, you know what, one day your own children are going to eat the fruits of the sky apple and the mutton gula and that kind of thing. And I thought that was amazing, you know, it's like a generational thing. And she loves being there, and you can see she's trying to help out. She picks weeds now and then, and it's nice. So we like to spend time with her there. It's free, it's open, and it's wonderful. So she has a good time for those times that we are there. And then she gets crabby. The third picture, this is the one that really got me. This was Darshan in Mauritius, and they took a lot of pictures, but this picture is so freaky if you look at her face. So we pitched up there, you know, in the front, and it was our turn for Darshan, and Guruji took Sheila, and I expected him to give her back to me. And he put her next to him. And this was my own test, because I was like, am I going to focus? Basically, the communication in my head was Guruji's like, am I going to focus on the child who cannot sit at the moment, or stare straight at your eyes and focus on you? And the test is you always still focus on the Lord, because he will take care of everything. And all I could hear at, I think, a few minutes after she sat there, she toppled backwards. And there was like 600 people just go, oh! And I still had my like eyes focused there, and I was just laughing internally and smiling at him. But when they took this picture and I looked at her face, I was like, she has this very cynical smirk there, to be like, hey, all you people, look at me, or something, that which I found very weird. But it's, you can see they obviously have something going on. Like, she was very comfortable where she was. The fourth picture is a good story, because my husband, when we first went to landed in Mauritius, we met Guruji on the first day at the temple, and my husband took pictures, right? And he didn't do a recording. So I asked him, I said, did you record? And he's like, no. I'm like, oh, you know, Rishabh, what is wrong with you? And so this was like, I think the second last day when they were doing a yagna, and I was sitting outside. And so Guruji from the inside the temple comes to the window, and he's whistling. So I was like, oh, Shayla, look, it's Baba. Shayla calls him Baba. And then he just gives me this look, Guruji, like, no, I'm not just saying whistling for you, come here. So I come and give me the baby, and I run there. But the most sweetest thing, as I was going to the window, is there was sand and soil with some stones and stuff. And here's the Lord of the universe telling me, hey, be careful, go slowly, and, you know, like watching there. And it was my moment. You know, I don't have a lot of moments physically when Guruji is around, whether in South Africa or anywhere else in India. But this was my moment where I think my heart melted, that you know, you worry about his feet, and he's been on a cushion, and here's him telling me, watch the stones, I don't get hurt. And you can see the Shayla smiling, and it was a beautiful moment. So that's an actual video. My husband got it right. And then sort of make it happen for me. So it's a special memory. The fifth one is Shayla, who on the first day we went into the temple, hoping to have seen Guruji, but he wasn't there. So we went and had darshan of Ranganath, and it was Kanupriya who was there and helped us around. And then Manshi and Ashwin were on the phone, and we were at the window, and we could hear Swami Parantapa and Guruji talking inside. And he came out after that, because he came to the window and he's like, oh, hello, everybody. And then Kanupriya is like, do you know her? She's from South Africa. And so Guruji says, yes, I remember, you're pregnant. You're the pregnant one. And I had like a cheeky remark. I was like, yeah, it finally came out. Because in Darshan here, in Durban in January, he was like, he was playing completely silly games at the front of Darshan, because I was 7 months and you could see. But he's like, do you have your cycle? And I'm like, no. And he's like, you're pregnant. And I was like, that is so. It's actually a true experience, because whatever is happening on the outside is not necessarily the true reality of what he was sharing with me, the journey of being pregnant. And so I sort of, that moment there, I captured when he came out, teasing him about, yeah, it finally came out, there she is, your devotee. And then, like you said, Shayla and the temple, this is Shanta Narasimha. and she loves to put flowers. She's a left-handed girl, so we're having a bit of trouble trying to get her to do prayers with the right hand. Yeah, that's about the pictures. Neri, Kaji?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sandhya. Thanks for sharing. It's really been amazing to hear your journey from pregnancy all the way through. We're going to come back to questions from the viewers, as well as maybe I'll ask a few questions later on. I'm going to go now to Vrushka, who's going to share her journey. So her family and Vrushka, they started their journey with Guruji in 2012 at Navaratri, where Vrushka actually danced for Guruji. She has 4 children. Darshan, who's 14, Saven, who's 10, Oriana, who's 5, and Kailash Rudra, who's 3 years old. So Verushka, welcome this evening to the Prem Lounge. It's wonderful to have you here with us. And we can't wait to hear you share your story with us and just how much spirituality has had an influence on the kids.
Jai Gurudev, everybody. Jai Gurudev,
Gurudev.
Swamini, and happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
And happy baby shower to Sandhya. It's so wonderful. It's such a wonderful space with this. I don't even feel like that dark cloud is above us anymore. With the difficult time that's happening in South Africa. And thank you for this wonderful opportunity to bring moms together. We always are characterized as something because of our profession or anything. And we always go back, but I'm a mother first. But thank you for this wonderful opportunity. And it's really Guruji's love that's brought everybody together. So thank you. Thank you, Narisha. As Narisha said, I went as just a devotee, not a devotee, as a dancer, as an artist to Germany to dance for Navaratri with Kartiges and Anna. And, you know, with my own background, I've grown up with a very spiritual background. With my upbringing, my family were all Shakti devotees, and I've lived in India for many years. And being there, I had a natural calling on my own to Krishna. So I had a very, very committed journey of Krishna. And then I was involved with, and I'm a staunch fire walker, so I am very committed to Draupadi. And that really enticed my love for Krishna. You know, I explored many things in India with Krishna and really researching Draupadi and her power. And when I came back to South Africa, I was just, you know, as a devotee for, you know, as Krishna. And when I went to Germany, I was very firm that, oh, I don't want to get involved in anything. I'm just going to go as the artist. And everyone knows that never happens. Yeah, Guruji stole my heart immediately. I was, and he knew that I came up with a massive cement wall in front of me because it was in the next few months I was about to take initiation in ISKCON. So I didn't want to, you know, I just thought I'm just here for the experience. And if it's a Vaishnava organization, then it's the love for Krishna. So I'm fine with that. And then it started, never ended. We don't want it to end. But I had an amazing, amazing experience. And everyone that knows me knows I'm really enticed by Guruji, and I'm blessed to have a beautiful journey with him, me personally, and as a dancer, and Vrindavan, and many, many things. And people know what has happened in Madurai with Guruji and I, Madurai Meenakshi. But this is about a gift of my Baba's. So I'm very, very grateful to only speak about them today. And it's a special time with what's happening in South Africa and all over the world. When I thought about it today and rushed over to my neighbor's house to come and get online, because it's quite chaos in my house to sit with my 4 and my little one that always wants to be online. I just thought, how precious is it to only to reiterate it, that if I constantly tell myself that my sadhana is so tough. I really have a tough journey, but I'm so grateful because I constantly remind myself that I'm just the servant. I'm just the servant to these beautiful, beautiful Babas that everyone told me I could never have children. And I was such a committed artist. I was so geared on grooming a powerful body only for dance, an extremely healthy mind, healthy body. But the one thing I could never do was to bear children. So it was very tough for me, and never bothered me actually till I got married, and I married a pediatrician. So it became, I think the pressure was like, imagine his profession and he doesn't have his own kids. And I traveled the world performing for the first 6 years of my life. I went back to India, I lived in Canada. And then like on the 7th year of being married, like everyone was worried, like something must be wrong. And just prayer. I think I was blessed with my first son. Each one has a very special journey. But this story is purely about Katyayani, my daughter, and Guruji. And when Guruji came into my life, what has happened thereafter. But I was really blessed with my son, Darshan Hariharan, who is now 14. And they've had great mercy. All of us have had great mercy in Prashanti with Satya Sai Baba, where Darshan was blessed. He was born on Hanuman Jayanti. He's a great devotee of Hanuman, chants exceptionally, and a great teacher to me as well. So I rest my head on his shoulders now, and he's such a gentleman to me and to my family. And then I had still, like, it was such a gift. I thought, oh my God, I'm so blessed that God has given me this gift of a child, to be a mother. And within 3 months, I was performing again and traveling. And then I was blessed with Taren 3 years later. Taren Mohan, special child and so divine. Was born early. I had preeclampsia and never spoke till he was about 3 years. And I used to recite Nirshinga Pranayam into his ears at night and really chant with real intent in his ears. And our family are all great Hanuman devotees. And at our family Hanuman prayer, I would always pray like, I just want this child to talk. And I would always chant for Nrsingadev. And so when Taren started speaking just before he entered school, the first thing he started reciting was Nirshinga Pranayam. So Taren is fully committed to Nirshinga. They recite it beautifully. They write Lika Japa only for him. And I offer a Vadamala to Nrsingadev every year on his auspicious time for my son, as an adornment, as a giving thanks, that he will serve him. So each one has their deities. And then I met Guruji, and my whole life changed after that. Many stories. It was Navaratri, and on the 6th day of Navaratri for Katyayani, Guruji had asked me to come in and participate in the puja, and I did, and not thinking anything of it, or not, obviously not knowing. You know, he said so many things to me on that night and blessed me, and you know, how we are blessed with adornments. And then I left, and he asked me, he said, the only one thing I ask you is, in the next few months, I ask you for 3 months, you know, don't take initiation, just wait a bit, just wait and see how things are, and then decide. And I did, and I started, you know, reading up a lot more Swami Vishwananda, and then a few years later, I was pregnant with Odiana, totally unexpected, and have gone through a very troubled journey in my marriage and with family and extended family, because it's very hard for me to manage everything and be an artist and be on top of everything all the time. So the expectation is so much greater. And when we found out we were pregnant with Odiana, I was very ill and I was having seizures, and I was admitted to hospital. And while I was in hospital, they had found out that I was pregnant. And they said, you know, because she's been on this contraceptive that causes abnormalities in the pregnancy, it's best to terminate it. So I prayed and I thought, you know, it's the Wednesday. I said, I'll stay in hospital till the Friday, and I will chant right through for Durga. And by Friday, I'll make a decision. And I would be 12 weeks by then, and then we'll decide. And just prayed and committed. And by Friday, I decided to I said, I'm going to continue and keep the pregnancy. I'd spoken to our temple guru, and that was fine. And then at 5 months, I had my scan showed that there was an abnormality, that there was a cyst growing, and it looked like there was a spacing on her brain that almost was like a hollow space. And they said, maybe it's best that we give you just a period to see if it's closing up or if there's going to be this gap on her, you know, on her brain. And then we thought, and that was the time I put up all the pictures of Guruji, and I said, there's something about, you know, that's drawing me to this child. I had started speaking to Swami Chakra at that time, and listening to Guruji's songs and bhajans, and then decided that just in prayer, just fully committed to Nrsingadev. We all decided that there was no way we're going to terminate this pregnancy at 5 months. And at 7 months, we had darshan, or I think at 7 months, we had darshan with Guruji. He had come to Durban, and it was amazing. It was amazing. You'll see it in the pictures later, that we had darshan, and Guruji said, just don't worry about anything. He had shared his there's lots of pictures. I'll just tell you quickly that photo number 9 is the very first time I met Guruji. That's his expression on meeting me for the first time. Well, he's always known me. And number 12 is him watching me dance, the very first time I've ever danced. When I looked at it last night, when I was sending it to Nirisha, I just cried. I thought, oh my God, like I still feel so in love. And that was the first time he was meeting me. And that number 11 was dancing with him on Navaratri night with, it's one of the devotees' children. And I'll tell you about this later on. Is one of the Just Loves, the number 8 is Guruji and I at one of the Just Love festivals. I had begged to offer lotus petals at his lotus feet, and yeah, he graciously responded. And the picture you see, number 10, I'll come to that, but I can tell you just briefly that when we had darshan, can maybe if we go to the first screen, Marilyn, if you're on, then I can just, thank you, darling. Oh, there's this darshan number 6. That is the darshan I had when I was 7 months pregnant with Odiana. And Guruji had told me that there's absolutely nothing for me to worry about the pregnancy, that she's fine. And he said, do you remember when you came for Navratri? So I said, yes, I danced for you. He said, no. He said, it was auspicious for you to partake in Navratri. And he said, your baby's name, it's a girl. We knew it was a girl. And he said, she has a very auspicious birth. And he named her. He said, her name will be Kartyayani. And it was the first time I was hearing it. So I said, excuse me? And he said, Kartyayani. And I said, I just said, oh, thank you, Guruji. But I couldn't remember it. And I kept saying, something. And that night I dreamt I just saw the name come across. And then I thought, oh my God, that's what he said. That's what he said. And that name stuck in my mind. And then I did the Atma Kriya course at 8 months pregnant with Sandhya. I remember this young couple coming there. And this huge lady. I wish I had a photo of all of us, Sandhya, after our course. But it was a very troubled time. I was in a very difficult space and all alone, actually, with my Baba and my pregnancy, and exhausted. And a friend helped me actually to pay for my Atma Kriya course. I'm thinking about it now. And I came and I just decided that it's, I have to channel my mind and get in the right space for this Baba, not even thinking anything. It was just it was a difficult pregnancy for me. And Atma Kriya just changed. It wasn't even the Atma Kriya. It was actually Swami Chakra there. It was the relation. It was Odiana meeting everybody. It was Odiana actually coming alive and taking me to a place that she wanted me to see where she belongs, where she wanted me to meet all her family. That's the truth. And the first Om chanting that I've ever done was then. And I could just, I never chanting, because that day I think I fell asleep. I think drawn to the energy next to me that I could feel like a pull almost, and she was just going crazy, and then I was just almost knocked out. I could feel like heavy breathing. I could smell this animal scent. I could feel fur, and I could just feel and I felt so comfortable. And all I just heard was just the hiss of the sound of this majestic lion that we all serve. And I think the rounds all happened and they just left me in that space. And I quietly got up and very awkwardly got up after it was done and just went and sat in the corner, because these were all people I didn't know. And here was this huge girl sitting, and now first time. It was hilarious. But anyway, I quietly just left that night. And after that session, feeling so rested. And I dreamt that night of Lord Nrsingadev, and it was the most majestic. I've written about it. It's a treasure to me. I saw him, just embrace me. It was the same fur, the same shoulder. I saw the claws on my arms. And he said, just rest. I'm here for you to just rest. And while I was resting, I said, I'm feeling hungry. I smell vada. Like, why? Like, am I smelling vada? you know? Not thinking that I give him Vadamala. He showed up in my dreams, even wearing the Vadamala that I give him. And I come for Atma Kriya on the Sunday morning, and they're serving hot vadas. One of the Matajis had made vada for the start of Atma Kriya. So it was beautiful. And everyone asked, would you like to share? And I said, I was so intimidated at that time. I just didn't want to. Till the second round of Om chanting. And again, Odiana was just going like off her rockets, I think. And then finally I decided to speak, and really couldn't speak. But it was the start of a beautiful, beautiful journey. And then it was her connection with really her family, with Chakradari, Guruji, and her making her space for everything. And then she was born. And the most majestic, I kept in touch with Guruji, and for her birth, at Darshan, the last time Darshan, when Guruji had blessed us, he had given Kamendran his tulasi beads, and we kept it at our puja place. And for her birth, we had tulasi, we had the tulasi mala from Guruji, and a fresh kumkum from Madurai Meenakshi, ready for this precious little girl being born to us. And that, I had told Narisha that my husband wanted to wanted us to have our baby earlier, later. And Guruji was so kind. Just before I delivered, he had called me, and I was so blessed that morning when I spoke to him. I was being reeled into theatre, and I couldn't believe to speak to Guruji that time. And I said, just give me an opportunity to see where she's coming from. And I was so blessed to see the change and the crossover of Odiana. And after that, we had many, many challenges. We brought her home. It's been a difficult journey from birth. And then she, sorry, it just threw me off track. Sorry, Narisha. She's also wanting to just try and finish up because of the time. But Odiana, definitely has a special place. After, she was born the first time, if you're going to go back to the other picture, was the first time she met Guruji. And that was their first meeting in Sangha. And I kept saying, oh, you're making me jealous because, I belong to him. And she was hiding under the tables and blushing, and she had Guruji's full attention. And yeah, I was there, and I thought, like this, he belongs to me. And but they definitely had their place. And when it was after that she started getting very ill. So the first meeting was definitely the start of the blessings in abundance for her. She was diagnosed with a very rare disease called Dravet disease, that only 16 kids in the world have it. And the worst of it is severe epilepsy. And I kept asking Guruji, I said, like, how would you ever, do this? Like I just can't accept all of this. And but he was amazing. Every time I spoke to him at a difficult time, He wanted me to know that, you know, everything is going to be okay. It's going to be okay, till he saw her again, and we had taken her for darshan again, and we had gone through a period where we kept her at home for about 2 years, where she wasn't walking. She had lost all her speech, and I was literally carrying a little child that was just limp with no life, until I completely surrendered. And I just said, if you've brought this child and given her to me, she's absolutely, I'm just the servant. She's really your responsibility. My husband had gone to Oxford, and then he traveled for a few days to Germany and begged Guruji for a blanket to always keep her, and to bless, Kailash was being born. And he said, please just keep Verushka, safe till I get home, because I had 2 emergencies where I could have gone into labor. And he said, don't worry, she'll wait for you. She's waiting for the blanket. And Kamendran arrived, and the next day I went into hospital, into labor. So we just made it, and we had our blanket to welcome Kailash Rudra, which is also a very special Baba, because he's come with all the attributes of Shiva, which is very new to me. Someone I almost feel like I'm having an affair, because I've only been a Vaishnava, and suddenly I love someone else. But it's so beautiful, because I've learned so much. Guruji has taught me so much, and because I've served each of my children differently. Each one has their own purpose. From everything I can tell you that all our lives are super difficult and so hard to cope. And I've, recently found out that the only way to actually survive it is to just detach yourself from it. That just take yourself out of it. That just not to be focused on. And just live in the moment. I actually want to be a mother. I don't want to be a manager at home or to coordinate everything. I want to be a mother. I want to be someone that loves my babas. They're all super amazing and so unique and so different. And they really are the gifts of my sadhana. That how is it possible that someone that travels the world, manages so much, and has 4 children to survive. And there's so much I don't do for them, but there's my heart of love. That's the best thing I can give them. And they've learned so much from my sadhana, from growing up with only rituals, and being a dancer. They've learned stories upon stories, and learned to recite and learn to love. That's the key thing. I think that's the key thing that we can teach, is that makes them complete. Everything else is, they learn it. They'll get to a point where they'll be able to learn it. So yeah, I'm very, very grateful. And I know that I have faith that Guruji definitely has his hands, especially on Odiana and all my babas, but a watchful hand, because that's definitely one of his children and his creations. Thank you for the time. Sorry, I know Narisha's picking us.
Thank you for sharing. It's really a very touching story. When you first told me, I was really moved by all your experiences, and it's really wonderful that you can share it, but also just the way you handled everything. It's a difficult journey. What I've been able to hear from all the moms that have spoken is all moms are superheroes. There's so many amazing qualities that moms have, compassion, resilience, patience, and above all, unconditional love. And these are really the qualities of today's superheroes. So thank you so much for sharing that, Spa. And now we have our last speaker for this evening, Samarthi Dasi. Samarthi Dasi and her family started their journey with Guruji 12 years ago. She has 2 beautiful boys, Direshan, who is currently finishing his honors in BSc Quantity Surveying, and Priyan, who's 16 years old and in grade 11, which is the second last year of high school, for those who don't know the South African grades. And she's also a mom to several young little people at school because she's a teacher. So welcome and thank you so much for joining us tonight. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev, everybody. It's really amazing to have this opportunity to speak. And I just want to say a very happy birthday to Swamini. It's
Jai
wonderful
Gurudev,
to have you on the call.
Thank you.
Especially on your birthday.
Thank you.
So I want to just start by saying that I've got 2 boys. And as Nerisha said, they now a teenager, and the one who's Nerisha says is about or almost ready to leave home says to me, not anytime soon. So he's not ready anytime soon to leave home. And you know, we met Guruji when Priyan was 5 and Duration was 11 years old. And it was really amazing to watch Priyan in the beginning with Guruji, because he would follow him so much so that even if Guruji stopped, he would bump right into Priyan. You know, he was so close to Guruji. He would follow him all the time. And I would even have to tell Priyan, can you leave Guruji alone? Because he obviously needs some of his space. And then one day Guruji said to me, you know, you must let him be, because that's how he feels, you know, and it's okay. Because I always thought Priyan was too much in Guruji's space. You know, he didn't respect that enough, but he was only 5. And so much so that when Guruji came to South Africa, it was the most difficult thing to get Priyan to go to school. He would really we would fight the whole time, because I'm a teacher, so I would have to answer to why Priyan was not at school. And we would fight about it the whole time. And he would say to me before Guruji could arrive, when Guruji comes, please let everyone know at school that I will not be at school for a week or 2 weeks, because Guruji is here and I'm not going to miss this opportunity. So it was quite clear after a while I gave up, because there was no fighting anymore. I had to just let him be. And I could see how much he obviously knew exactly who Guruji was. And, you know, they had such an amazing relationship. Duration was 11, so he was still going into the teenage years. And even though he loved Guruji very much, we all did. But I could see also he was very skeptical. You know, there were certain things that he needed to see or to be proved, or, you know, I don't know what it was. And Guruji gave him that time, all of that time. Guruji gave him that time where he had alone time with the boys. And, you know, I remember clearly once he came home and he said to me he'd like to eat sweet corn and I must boil it for him. And I boiled the sweet corn, and while I was doing that, he's, you know, getting the sweet corn ready, he sat in the lounge with the boys and they were watching the movie Pokemon together. So they watched the entire movie together, just eating sweet corn and watching the movie. And it was so amazing to watch how free they would speak to each other. And, you know, it was so amazing. It wasn't like it was Guruji. And the boys just loved that time with him. And, you know, the thing is, when I knew who Guruji was, the thing that I did first was ages and what kinds of things they can get up to. And you can never always be everywhere at the same time, but Guruji could. So the first thing I did when I knew who Guruji was, and I knew this was my Guruji, I said to him, these boys are yours. They don't belong to me. They belong totally to you. So you are absolutely, totally responsible to bring them up however you want to, and to nurture them and protect them however you want to, because I have totally given you control of them. And that was the best thing that I've ever done, because I know that I'm not in control anymore. I have no control. I didn't even bother anymore. I don't worry about, are they going to do the wrong things? What kind of trouble are they going to get into? Because I know that totally Guruji has total protection over them. And I've given that to him. I've given my boys to him totally. So that was the first thing that I did. And as I said, you know, the boys are both very amazing. They're very busy because Priyan is in grade 11. And Duration is doing his honors now, so his final year. But they still find time to do their puja. That is not something that we decide whether we're going to do. They do their puja. They do everything that they can do. I mean, they were very involved in the temple in Emerentia, so much so that when Guruji came, he actually said to me, you know, the boys have been wonderful. And I said to him, you know, Guruji, these boys are they're not my boys. They're your boys, you know, and maybe that's why they're so wonderful. And he just gave the biggest smile, because I guess that was the correct answer, you know, to have given. Duration came a long way when we went to Mauritius, and Swamini was there as well. You know, it's amazing to be with Swamini and her family and to be so close to Guruji when we are in Mauritius. It's really a blessing. Duration was given the opportunity to clean coconuts with Guruji, and I think that is how they started their very close relationship. Guruji said, come Duration, let's clean the coconuts. And while they were busy cleaning coconuts, and Duration was still very like, you know, I'm not sure, and I don't know, and you know, all of that. And while they were busy cleaning coconuts, they were talking together. It was just the two of them. And then Guruji manifested this beautiful ring for Duration. And Duration was so excited. I think he skipped stairs and whatever to run up to tell me that, you know, this is what Guruji did, and he did it right in front of him, and he cannot believe that this is what happened. So that was like a cementing, in a way, of that relationship. That was when it started to grow, and it just grew from strength to strength. And when Priyan was a little boy, he used to draw pictures of Narsinghadev. And, you know, he used to always draw just the face with the mane, and he always drew all of these pictures. You'd find them all over the house, and every time he drew it, it would get better and better and better. And then he found out that Swamini Vishwamohini was going to visit Guruji in Kenya. So he said to her, will you please take one of these pictures for me to Kenya? I want to give this picture as a gift to Guruji. And Swamini agreed to do this. And when Swamini gave Guruji the picture, Guruji was he could feel the love that was coming from that drawing. And he actually, from his heart, manifested the Krishna. I'm not sure if you can. So this was a beautiful, beautiful Krishna that Priyan received. So Swamini had to take care of him. She had to do Abhishekam on him and bring him back to South Africa for Priyan. And I must say, you know, when we look at all of this, how amazing Guruji has been to the boys. He's been amazing to all of us, but especially to boys, especially when they're at that age and you don't actually know how they're going to go, what their life's going to turn out to. You just have to trust and make sure that you as a parent do the things that you're supposed to do so that they can learn from that. And Swamini was very right when she said that you have to be that role model in a way and do what you have to do. You cannot force things on to children. It's not possible to force things onto them. But what you can do is do what you can do and allow them to see how you're doing things, how you speak, what kind of interactions you have, and how you go about doing things. And I mean, even right now with our new temple, we didn't need to tell the boys that this is what they needed to do. They would be there doing exactly what they have to do because they know that they are serving Guruji, and that's it. There's nothing more I can do as a mom or my husband as a dad. We cannot do any more than this because Guruji has already sorted it out. So growing in this life of actually accepting Guruji and giving the children to him, I think, for me, was the most important thing that I've ever done. It was the most important thing that I've ever done, was to just hand over my children to him. I can't really hear.
Would you
Sorry,
like to go? Would you like to go through the pictures just quickly, and then share when you're on the pictures? Maybe share about the kids at school as well.
Yes, I would. Okay, we can go through the pictures. So at school it's also different because I've got quite a few children that I teach on a daily basis. Well, this is just our family pictures, and the reason I've put some of these pictures on is because it's also very important to do things together as a family. It just makes things a lot easier, so that the children actually learn from what you have to impart. Praying, we're always praying together. If we're doing service, we do service together. If we're offering something, we do that together. So we're always doing things together. So it's our togetherness. And number 6, you can see, was Duration's 21st birthday party, which was quite a difficult one because, like, we are vegetarian, and Duration was turning 21. So it was a little bit difficult because I said to him, maybe we should go on holiday instead and not actually have a birthday party, because how do you have this birthday party now, and are we going to invite all of these friends, and we are vegetarians, so there's no two ways about this. We're going to only serve vegetables, and it's going to be a different kind of a party. And he said to me, and at 21, this was at 21, I was very impressed. So he said to me, Mom, I am vegetarian, I don't drink alcohol, and I'm sure for one day the friends that I'm going to invite will actually respect that fact, that this is who I am. And if we are celebrating me, this is what we are going to do. We're going to have a vegetarian party with no alcohol. And you can see at the cake as well, he made sure Guruji was present at his 21st birthday party. It was really amazing because, I mean, like, I knew that the boys were spiritual, and I knew that they love Guruji, but I didn't know the extent that he had actually, the extent of how much this was. And for me, that just proved how amazing this was. And that was, can we go to maybe the next pictures? So I'm also, you could see that when Guruji came to Emerentia, we as a family did the Guru Puja. And you can see as well, like, the boys are always close to Guruji. Always, wherever Guruji is, they want to be near there, and always trying to, talk to him or see what he needs. They're always wanting to serve. And that for me is like the most amazing thing. I mean, Duration used to go to university, and he would still be able to go to temple before university. So he would go to temple, do his puja, serve, and then go to university. And I mean, that didn't come from me. I didn't say, this is what you have to do, So I thought that was such an amazing thing for children at this age. And I don't know if you have any of my school pictures, Nerisha.
Here you go.
So you will notice, like, even when we do, like last year for Guru Purnima as well, we found that we were doing something for Guru Purnima to send to Germany, because it was obviously the COVID time again. And you can see my family as well, we do it together. As much as I'm not a singer, I'm not part of the singing, I'm not one of the best singers, but we still find, the time to actually do things together and, as a family, because it's so nice to do that. As a family, you become so much stronger in spirituality when you're all doing this together, and we learn from each other all the time. So I am a teacher, and for the last 3 years, I've opted to teach little children. So basically they're 5 turning 6. And I must tell you, I always thought that teaching older children was making an impact. But for the last 3 years, I've never felt this much of satisfaction in a job, because these little children have so much that they can take in. They have so much that they can take in without any preconceived ideas. They have no preconceived ideas. So I've got Guruji on my laptop. I've got a picture of Guruji. So every time I switch on my laptop and put it on my projector, we have this conversation. We have this conversation, so much so that even if they're going on holiday to Mauritius or Germany, they'll tell me they were looking out for Guruji and they didn't really see him. And, do I actually think that they're going to see him at some point? Because they were looking for him in Mauritius and they were looking for him in Germany, because they have no concept of how wide or huge the place is. They were just looking for Guruji and they just couldn't find him. So while I was teaching for the past, because they were all over the place all the time, and I started to do meditation with them. And that also came from Guruji. I started to do my meditation with them, and something simple, just normal. See, they sit still and they're able to do at least a 15-minute meditation, and it gets longer as the year goes by. And by December, or even November, December, they're able to go home and teach their parents how to do this, So we talk about Guruji all the time. It's difficult not to talk about him because I have him around my neck on my pendant, and questions always come up. Little children, they don't have any boundaries, basically. So they will ask you and they'll be so honest, So he always comes up in my classroom, and, it even came up as like, who is Guruji? And I just say to them, Guruji is my, because I teach in a Christian school, I had to say, Guruji is my Jesus. That's who Guruji is, my Jesus. In order for them to relate to who Guruji to me is. And they said, teacher, you are so lucky that your Jesus is actually alive and you can go and see him, So I think all of these children at some point, they know Guruji, and it'll be really a blessing if someday some of them could actually meet him, because they already know who he is. It'll really be amazing. But I just want to say that, I'm just so grateful as a mom that Guruji has come into our lives, because he's helping me every day to raise my children.
Thank you so much. It was really inspirational to hear your sharing and to hear how amazingly the boys have grown. And I also see it firsthand. And it's quite a journey to have watched both of them grow up, and to watch them so close to Guruji and all the opportunities they've had and the grace they've had with him, and to see the amazing work they do at the temple, and to see how they love to serve. So it's really an incredible journey they've had. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. So we've come to that part of the program where we'd like to ask if there's anyone who would perhaps like to make a comment or ask a question of the speakers tonight. Please go ahead, raise your hand, use the raise hand function, and we can unmute you to ask questions to any one of the speakers tonight. So I'm assuming that you guys have shared so amazingly that there aren't too many questions from everyone that's watched. But what's been incredible about the journey that all of you have kind of shared, with Swamini starting and setting the scene for the way, what's important, what we should be doing, how we get children more involved, and then to you, Sandhya, basically explaining about what it was like during the pregnancy, how Guruji intervened, how he was always present in your life. And then to you, Verushka, just a remarkable experience with your little one and how he guided everything right from the word go, to bringing you to the prayer in order to be able to invoke her soul so that she should come down to you. And watching the journey of the kids growing, I mean, the young child, the 14-year-old that you can actually count on now as support, that's an amazing thing. And that's not today when you think about it in society. when we have, young children, teenagers in particular. I'm sure you all hear it. I'm sure all the viewers are also aware, and this teenagers can have that, they're called troublesome teenagers, they're called difficult teenagers. And even myself as a mom, having a teenager, I can say, with the spiritual journey, it's really incredible. We've not experienced that. I've also experienced with my 14-year-old that I can lean on him, count on him, and that's just Guruji's grace. It's completely Guruji's grace. This is not a story you'll hear from someone with kids who's not on a spiritual journey. So it's not something we can really take for granted, how our kids embrace what we are doing. And then we come to what you are doing, Kamala, and how the kids are so, they've really grown with the path. And now you see it all come to fruition, where you were saying you don't have to tell them, Darshan is going to do puja before he goes to university. It's not you saying, wake up, go to the temple. He's waking up, he's doing it himself. It's I know, Darshan, I know you're listening and you're not ready to leave home, but it's just about the fact that you could be ready, because what mom and dad have done has been amazing, and all of you have taken this journey with Guruji's grace. So it's for me summarizing everything that we've heard tonight. And Swamini, I'm going to come back to you if you want to make some closing comments or give some closing advice. But what I can see in this journey is it really is about living by example, like Guruji said in the video right at the start. The way that we live as parents is going to really show our kids the path. And if we're doing it, we don't have to say to them, you need to do it, because they're going to see us do it. And they're going to pick up their japa bags, or they're going to sit down to do a prayer, or they're going to try to make a prasad in order to serve their deities, or put a little garland on them. Even if it's a tiny one that's breaking apart, but so much joy just to put a garland that they made themselves on their deities. And they follow us in everything we do. They follow us. So if we're watching what we're doing, they're going to be doing the same thing. And lastly, I guess what I'm hearing from all of you, spirituality is a way of life. Kamala, you were saying we do it together. We sing together, we pray together, and it is a way of life. It's not that we do everything else and then we do some spirituality. It actually is everything that we do. So Swamini, I'd like to ask if you want to share some maybe closing advice or any comments that you have on the session tonight.
It's okay. It's really amazing to be with you and hearing so many. You hear me?
Yes, we do.
So really, and Verushka, her experience with her kids, 4 babies, even me, I had 3. And in my family, I was the only one to have 3. And they used to shout at me, go away with your so many children. So you see, children are just, they keep you happy. And it keeps you, even for us mom, they keep us moving on life. We always have to, even when they're grown up, like Kamala was telling that I forgot his spiritual name. So I know that boy duration. I know he was 5. I know how he was behaving with Guruji. So now he's 21, and even when they are grown up, we have to still to be by their side anytime they will need us. So it's we are as women by nature, we have been given a boon by God. We have the womb. The entire creation it comes from the Hiranya Garbha, the cosmic womb. And so now we are having babies, and to nurture them under the love and guidance of Paramahamsa Vishwananda. That's another amazing grace. So we are all doing our parts. And for future mothers to be, it's true. When you are pregnant, you need to read scriptures, the books, and let the baby, when it's the baby is still in the womb, it imbibes whatever you are feeling, whatever you're reading, all the good things. Even biologically, they say that you need to have good interaction when the baby is still in the womb. So that's all. It was just a really, amazing session, and I enjoyed it, and wish you all the best. Hope South Africa will just be okay. Let's pray for you guys. It's really, I feel so sorry because it's what's happening there. That's all I have to say.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for bringing me to you guys.
Thank you so much for agreeing, and especially today on your birthday. It's really, as I said when we started, very special for us that you could be here tonight. Thank you very, very much, Swamini. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us this evening. Thank you to our superhero moms who are really, really spreading all their love to the kids, not just in their homes, but outside of their homes. We really appreciate your time tonight. We really appreciate all the effort you made to put everything together and be here. And I'd like to just say thank you once again to you. Thank you to all of you for joining us tonight on this Prem Lounge. Just to share with you, on Telegram, there is a moms group. So if you don't know about it or you're not on it yet, you can reach out to us and we can give you the link to join. But it's just great to be part of it because you receive so much love on difficult days. You can give love on easy days for yourself, and it's just great to be part of a community. So thank you again, and have a blessed evening. Jai Gurudev.